Hey Apex Agents, it's Mobius here with another video for Mass Effect Andromeda's multiplayer. Now today's video, there's just going to be some gameplay going on in the background while I discuss a topic that has been bugging me for quite a little while lately. And you could probably tell it's basically about the latest patch, patch 1.09, that came out for Mass Effect Andromeda a few weeks ago. Now I did want to avoid making a video like this, but I wound up just procrastinating on it rather than avoiding it altogether because it is something that's been bothering me quite a bit. And I also do want to get your guys' thoughts and opinions on how you actually feel about patch 109 as well. Now, I'm going to be basically just reiterating one thing that bugs me about patch 109, and that's largely going to be the focus of my disgruntlement, I suppose, would be the appropriate term. So, I'm going to try and cover everything that I want to, and I'm going to try and keep my babbling to either as long or shorter than the gameplay video going on in the background. So it should only be about 50 minutes or less. So I'm going to try and cover as much as I can, basically, in as short a time span as possible. So if I'm jumping all over the place and not making a heck of a lot of sense, please forgive me. I'm trying to say a lot of things in a fairly short time span, which, if you haven't figured it out by now, is a little difficult for me to do. So, patch 109, when it came out, there was the usual things like balance changes and some new basically stuff for players to acquire in the game. So we were given some new weapon mods. There was, of course, a new character sometime around the release of patch 109, and we basically got some new guns, or old guns with variants of them, I suppose you could say. So we were given each uncommon or higher grade, so each uncommon, rare, and ultra rare weapon had 3 variants added in. The Bulwark variant gives a damage resistance buff that scales higher if you have more teammates close by to your position. There's also the Concussive variants, which set off a biotic combo if you get a weak point kill on an enemy. And there's also the Siphon variant, which, as you're inflicting damage with the weapon, it regens your health and or shields. I believe it's just your shields. Don't quote me on exactly what it is. It doesn't matter. The point is it basically gives you health regen. And I don't mean that specifically to the health bar. It could be health and or shields, or both, you know, whatever. You know what I mean. So we've got these variant weapons now, along with a fair plethora of new weapon mods. Just, you know, alternate options and whatnot. And we've also been given this veteran bonus stuff for all of our characters, which are fully upgraded when you get the character cards unlocked to grade 20 now. So, along with all that, plus the usual multiplayer balance changes, which once again resulted in a lot of guns being buffed and whatnot, and a couple changes to some of the enemy units, the players were essentially made more powerful once again. This has kind of been a recurring thing with all the updates and balance changes that have come out with them, with each of the patches, basically. My huge problem with all this stuff coming out is the massive amount of unlocks that are in the game now. Essentially, with patch 109, with several new weapon mods coming out, I don't know the exact number, to be totally honest, and by doubling the amount of character cards that you can get, and by having 3 variants of just about every gun in the game, like I said, uncommon or higher rarity weapons, they have essentially quadrupled the loot pool for item drops in the supply packs that you buy after your missions. And that seriously rubs me the wrong way. Now, I totally understand there are lots of players out there who, when they're playing games that have things like unlocks, they enjoy the aspect of getting new things all the time, always having new stuff coming out, or upgrading their current stuff, constantly upgrading, constantly getting new stuff, getting new toys, you know, whatever. Kids with new toys all the time is kind of the way how I alluded to it. And I totally understand that, and that's all well and good. I totally respect that there's plenty of people that do feel this way. I totally get that, 110%. I mean, I was a kid who would wake up and be excited for Christmas too, at some point. There's also gamers and players who are kind of more like, they kind of have a thought process like mine, where it's more along the lines of, you know, unlock everything and then the real game begins, because you can try all sorts of weird combinations for different things. And in particular with Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer, or sorry, Mass Effect multiplayer period, so I'm including Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, when you have everything and you're able to try out all these weird combinations of stuff, it's a lot more fun, you know? For example, like in Mass Effect 3, the third and final time I maxed my manifest after the final multiplayer DLC came out, you know, I was able to go back and throw on weird equipment like the Batarian Gauntlet or something silly on something like a Quarian female engineer and make her into a melee character, just for funsies. You know, you can do fun stuff like that when you have everything either unlocked and or fully upgraded in something like Mass Effect multiplayer. But a newer player, and I use the term newer loosely because I do refer to myself as a newer player, since my manifest is so abysmally limited right now. You know, I would say that somebody with more like an Apex rating of, say, over 20,000, which is, you know, 3 times what I have right now, is not so much a newer player, because they probably have most, if not all, of their rare cards fully upgraded, as well as most, if not all, of the ultra rares unlocked. Maybe not maxed out, but unlocked. So they've spent a lot more time in the game than I have, obviously. Those are what I consider not necessarily newer players. Me, on the other hand, I don't think I've even spent 100 hours, probably not even 50 hours, in Mass Effect Andromeda's multiplayer. So I'm kind of a newer player as well. So for newer players, the drop pool has essentially been quadrupled, and there's just so much crap to get now that it's going to take significantly longer to even get everything in order to be able to try everything, which is a major turnoff for me. Like I said, I'm kind of the mindset where it's like, okay, you know, just try some things out while I'm unlocking stuff and see what is effective, and stick to, you know, 2 or 3 things that are effective. Stick to 2 or 3 setups on a specific character that are effective on the higher difficulties, but, you know, don't deviate very much from those. You know, going for maximum efficiency in order to get credits as quickly as possible so I can unlock more shit. Basically, it's a grind, is essentially what it is. And quadrupling that grind does not sit very well with me. Up until patch 109, I'm just going to use a personal kind of example. Up until patch 109, when I was playing just gold difficulty, I was just starting to buy expert packs because I had finally maxed out all my uncommon cards. My uncommon weapons, my uncommon weapon mods, and my uncommon characters were all finally at rank 10. So I was unlocking new rare equipment, new rare weapons, new rare weapon mods and characters, and upgrading rare characters and weapons by buying expert packs constantly. That's no longer a thing because I have to go back and buy basic packs all over again in order to max out the common characters once more. Another 120, or is that how many it is? I believe it is 12 common characters, 6 classes, 1 male, 1 female for each class. Yeah, it should be 12. So basically another 120 basic packs. So how much is that in credits? Multiply that by 5, that's 600 at 1,000. So another 600,000 credits I'm going to have to spend on basic packs again in order just to max out my common characters once again. That does not really sit very well with me. So I'm going to basically... even if I wanted to try and unlock newer rare stuff and buy these expert packs, I'm still going to be getting common and uncommon packs. Common and uncommon cards from those packs that are unlocking or upgrading stuff that I'd already had, or unlocking variants of stuff that I'd already had maxed out. And that really does not sit right with me, and it is just such a huge turnoff from me wanting to play the game because of that. Because I look at it and I just go, oh my gosh, I haven't spent a lot of time in this game, and I had quite a few things to unlock before, but now I have a shitload of stuff that I still have to unlock before I can even really delve into the very in-depth meta of just trying out a massive combination of stuff, both for fun and to see exactly what's effective and usable. And like I said, that does not sit right with me. I do not really like that implementation. I think BioWare had a really good idea with these different weapon variants. They simply did not implement it very well, in my opinion. They could have simply done it where it was a weapon mod, so you had to sacrifice one of your weapon mod slots, something like a damage barrel or a higher magazine capacity, for something cool like setting off combo explosions when you get a weak point kill or a headshot kill. That would have definitely implemented more kind of strategy, I suppose, into character setups, because you have to make that sacrifice for that gain. Whereas the way they did it, not only did they vastly increase the size of the unlock pool, but when you get a grade 1 variant weapon, whether it's Bulwark, Concussive, or Siphon, it's instantly as effective as a grade 10 weapon of the same variant. If you don't really know what I mean by this point, a grade 1 variant weapon, so say you get a grade 1 Concussive Ruzad, it does just as much damage, is just as light, and carries just as much spare ammo as a grade 10 basic Ruzad. So if you ever get a variant weapon before you even unlock or fully upgrade the basic weapon, there's no reason to ever use that basic weapon. Is basically how it goes. Which I think was just a really poor way to go about it. That's largely my opinions on it. So we're kind of coming up to the end of the mission in the background. There is some more things that I did want to say, but I'm just going to leave it at that. I think I got my point across that the fact that the unlock pool is so huge now is such a big turnoff for me. I would like to hear your guys' opinions in the comments below, whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, whether you think I'm a fucking idiot. I don't care. Just let me know in the comments below what you think, how you felt about patch 109, and I will keep an open mind, absolutely. But enough about my rambling. Enjoy the rest of the gameplay going on in the background there. This has been Mobius Y talking about Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer, and I hope to see you on the battlefield. Good luck, Apex.
Time to go. Get to the extraction site. I'm reading a flatline. Teammate injured. Teammate injured. Took a hit, but we hit back harder.